We manage over 7 figures in ad spend per month, and in today's video, I'm going to show you the exact campaign structure that we are using across every single account and seeing success with. So whether you're a new or experienced media buyer, this video right here is going to show you the exact account structure that we are seeing success with. So it's going to be a very tactical and in-depth video. Let's dive in. So first off, most of the time we are launching with ABO. So my rule essentially is this. I don't want to ever launch an ad campaign or an ad set below $150 per day in spend. So if I want to launch with my default strategy of a cold interest stack, broad targeting, and a lookalike audience, and I cannot afford $150 here, $150 here, and $150 here, then guess what? I'm going to just go to a CBO structure, so campaign budget optimization. I'll still have my interest stack, my broad, and my lookalike audience, but I'll place whatever budget I can here. And in this case, it would be anything from $150 to technically $449 per day in spend. I place that on the campaign level. So I don't want to run different ad sets at like $50 here, $50 here, $50 here. It's going to take way too long to get data, so I don't like doing that. So this is the first rule. Now, in this video, I'm just going to assume that you're running an ABO structure. And again, these can be interchanged, but just for the sake of this video, I'm going to talk about ABO structures. So that's my rule for the actual optimization that you choose for the campaign, whether it's ad set budget, ABO, or campaign budget, CBO. Now, in terms of the actual ad sets themselves, so first we have the interest stack. Now, a cold interest stack is very simple to build. On the ad set level, I'm just going to layer on a bunch of different demographic traits, interests, behaviors that I think resonate with my target audience. I don't overthink this. I also don't do that stuff where I'm going to break out individual ad sets, or I'll have like one ad set for these 3 interests, one ad set for these 3 interests. I don't do that. Okay, I load them all onto one ad set, and basically all as it is nowadays is it's broad targeting with a little bit of a nudge. So you're basically saying, hey Meta, I think that my target audience fits these behaviors, demographic traits, and has these characteristics. So I want you to reference them, but then you can go, if you have Advantage Plus turned on, which I leave it on, you can go beyond my options that I selected in this interest stack if you do choose to do so. So we go interest stack and then broad, very simple. We just control age, location, and gender if we choose to do so. And then lookalike, if I have suffice data, I will do a lookalike audience. And by suffice data, I mean usually 500 plus SQLs, sales or purchases, or high quality MQLs. I'll test that out as a lookalike audience. If I don't have that, I literally just run with interest stack and broad. Now inside of these ad sets under Andromeda, what I do is I put a minimum of 20 to 30 individualized ads inside of each ad set. And these are the same ads per ad set. So if I'm running with these 3 ad sets here, it's going to be the same ads in each one. And these again are individualized ads. So I have a full video breaking down the Andromeda update here, and then also a guide on running ads right here, that both of those I cover scripting ads. So you can check those on out. But essentially they're full individualized ads that all hit on a different reason why somebody should buy your product or service. They hit on a different pain point, a different outcome your target audience wants, a different desire they have, and a different current circumstance that they find themselves in that they want out of. So inside of these as well, I put 5 pieces of body copy, 5 headlines, and 1 to 3 descriptions. Now body copy, I do 2 long, 2 medium, 1 short. And then headlines, I try to keep these under 40 characters long. And then descriptions, I don't really overthink them at all. I literally say like, watch the video and check out more details on the next page, or click for more details, or book in a call, stuff like that. I don't overthink it whatsoever. This right here is the campaign structure. Now, in terms of what we're doing on the actual tracking and attribution side, most of the time we're using the conversion API. So we'll start by just firing anybody back that hits a new booked call status inside of the CRM. So basically someone will book in, for example, on Calendly, they'll go right into a pipeline stage inside of the CRM that's like booked call. And once they land there, they go through the conversion API back into Meta. If we start to see quality issues there, or I want to get tighter with quality, or we see people are lying on the application form and therefore booking in and they're not our ICP, then from there, I'll switch over to firing the actual lead through the conversion API if they've gotten a tag on their actual contact card by one of our salespeople. So basically a salesperson has marked them as qualified in some capacity, whether it's a setter before the closing call who triaged it, or, which is my ideal one that I go to first, or the actual closer hopped on the phone with the lead and said, yes, they are qualified. Then from there, I'll fire them through the conversion API. You could also have, for example, if you have a pipeline stage like offer made or just qualified in the pipeline stage or as a pipeline stage, you can fire them through the conversion API there. But for the most part, we are using the conversion API setup nowadays versus just the browser pixel, seeing a much higher match rate overall in the account, much cleaner data, and literally we've switched some accounts from just using the browser side pixel to the conversion API and 4x the results. It's pretty crazy. So keep that in mind. Now, it's very easy to set up. We just use Zapier. And if you're using the browser side tracking right now in attribution, go into your events manager and you'll want to look for whatever standard event you're optimizing around or custom event, whatever it is. You want to look at the match rate. And if it's 8 and above, you're good. If it's 8 and below, switch to the conversion API. Or again, if you're just dealing with bad tracking and bad attribution, just switch to the conversion API, make your life way easier. Now, in terms of actual decision-making in the ad account, this is what basically can occur, right? So you're gonna launch ads, all right? So say we launch with our ABO structure here. We have our lookalike at 150 per day. We have our broad and we have our interest stack, right? 150 here, 150 per day here. What I usually do is I take the actual 30-day profit that I make from one prospect that we sign on to. So say, for example, my offer is $6,000. I have $1,500 CAC. I have $1,500 in fulfillment, and I have $1,000 in commish for the sales team. So this leaves me with, after everything, $2,000 in 30-day profit. So my rule of thumb is I'm going to let this campaign with this campaign structure here spend initially 1x this amount over here. So $2,000. If I'm seeing good traction and maybe I'm not within my target cost per call range and maybe I haven't closed a bunch of deals yet, but I'm seeing good qualified leads coming through and I'm not 2x my target cost per call, then I'll let it ride until 2x this number, so $4,000 in this scenario. And then from there, I'll make the final judgment. If it's working, awesome, I'm gonna scale it. And I scale it 10% to 30% every 2 to 3 days, depending on how aggressive I want to scale and how fast I wanna scale that budget. I just gotta make sure my closing team or my sales team can actually handle the calls and I'm not basically scaling too fast in relativity to how many calls I have open on the calendar or how many call slots I have open on the calendar. But essentially, once I hit this 2x point, one of two things can happen. I can either be hitting KPI or I could be missing KPI. If I'm missing KPI, then what I do is I run a bottleneck analysis, which is very simple. I literally go, and I have a full video on this page too right here you can check out on running a bottleneck analysis, but I literally just go here and I gather all the stats for this campaign here, and that would be like CPMs, unique click-through rate, app rate, so application rate, how many qualified applications submitted versus the page views, book call rate, then I have show rate, then I have qualified rate, so how many of the people that showed were actually qualified, then I have close rate. And I'll look at all of the metrics for each of these and I'll look and see if any of them are the main choke point. So which one is the easiest to 2x to 3x or cut in half in the shortest period of time with the least amount of time, effort, and resources. That's the one I'm going to attack. So maybe in this case, all the other metrics are good, but our show rate is like 35%. It's not the ads that's making things not work. It's the show rate. So I'd go and I'd fix the show rate. So I would audit like our team's sales process. I'd see if our emails are even getting delivered for the reminder sequences and our value-based email flows. I'd see if we have the right confirmation page video set up. I would see what scripts we're using for the SDRs reaching out to prospects before the call. I'd see what texts we're actually sending the prospects. Are we sending trust assets, sales assets, stuff like that. So I pull the stats at this point. If it is not working at 2x, same with 1x. Like if we hit that 1x point and stuff is not working, then I'm still gonna run a bottleneck analysis. Now, if I ran through everything, right? I ran the bottleneck analysis and I determine that my ads are the problem, I simply go back to the drawing board, I film 30 new ads, and I launch 30 new ads, and I repeat the cycle again. Now, say for example, we hit this 2x point, we're within KPI, we're scaling, we're doing well. Very simple, right? We've now made it out of that testing phase right here, and we're just gonna scale, 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 scale until we hit ad fatigue. And basically ad fatigue is very simple. If you've been scaling a campaign and it all of a sudden for a 3 to 4 day period and you're not in like a holiday period or like a high inflationary time, if you've scaled a campaign or an ad set up and it starts to have a 3 to 4 day period of sustained increase in cost per result and decrease in result volume, then you hit ad fatigue. And what we do is we take 30 new ads and 70% of those ads will be close remakes to the winner, so winner refreshes. 20% of them will be the same angle, but maybe a different style of an ad. So if we did direct to camera, we might have a couple that are educational style ads, case study style ads, maybe a whiteboard in some, maybe changing the visuals around. And then 10% of them will be totally new ads entirely. So brand new angles, different perspectives, all that stuff. And from there, we'll just, if we're running an ABO, right? Like say for example, whenever we launch this ABO over here, the broad one failed, the interstack failed, but we scaled the lookalike up until the point where it starts to fatigue out. I simply duplicate out the lookalike audience here, or this ad set. I put these new 30 ads into that one. I turn off the old one and I let this new one ride. Then I could also choose at times, if I want to basically duplicate out this lookalike audience and run broad to these same 30 creatives that I refreshed as a split test, and then also just interstack with those 30 as well. And if I'm running a CBO structure, it's very simple. I literally just duplicate out the whole campaign. So say for example, I was running this campaign here. I had my 3 ad sets and I had, I scaled this one up to, call it, I don't know, 215 bucks per day. It fatigued out. I then duplicate this whole campaign. I have my same 3 ad sets here, interstack, 215 bucks. I put these new 30 creatives in there in each ad set. So in the lookalike, the broad, and the interstack, and I run that. So it's very simple. That is the campaign structure. I know it looks like kind of a mess here, but if you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at Evan Seach. This is the simplified scaling and campaign structure that we run with. Don't overcomplicate it. There's tons of different strategies you can do, but again, this is just cut and dry and simple what we do and how we make decisions inside of ad accounts. And if you want more help with your ads, we have a couple options for you down in the description below. Our Inner Circle is a great program for anyone looking for done with you and consulting help. And then we also have our done for you services for any B2B companies and agencies who want us to scale your ads for you. So check those out. And I also have another video right here on the Andromeda update. That's a fantastic one to go through. And then also right here on a much more in-depth guide on how we run ads currently. Check those out. Hit me up with any questions. I'll see you in the next one.